biggest professional regret, Senator? It can be more than one. It could even be personal.
I probably have had several that I don't recall,
Yeah.
or maybe it's
Yeah.
because I blocked it out.
Mhm.
But I don't really have a lot of regrets because I'm not saying that I've done everything right.
Right.
But at the same time, I've always felt like whatever happened, it happened, and that's the way it was.
On the flip side of that, Senator, what is your biggest professional triumph? And it can be personal as well. It can be more than one.
Well, as I said, my biggest triumph, particularly in the Kentucky State Senate, was the passage of the open housing bill. I always disliked the restrictions that were in deeds on property here in Louisville and elsewhere in Kentucky. Because African Americans were restricted to certain areas to live in. Many of them lived in alleys, and I saw that as a kid, and I didn't like it. So when I had the opportunity to introduce an open housing bill in 1968, just right after I was elected, nobody thought it would pass. My seatmate, who was chairman of the Judiciary Committee,
Okay.
when I introduced the open housing bill prohibiting discrimination in the sale and rental of property in Kentucky, he said to me, "You never pass that." And I don't know whether I was arrogant or confident, but I said to him, "Just watch me." And that was all I said. So that bill went in his committee.
Yeah.
And each time I'd ask him, "Tom, when are you going to bring my bill out of your committee?" He said, "Well, every time I bring it up, I lose a quorum." I said, "But you will." The most important issue that year to those 37 men was the daylight savings time bill.
Oh, yes.
So when they came to me and asked me,
Remember that in the research.
how I felt about that bill, I said, "I really don't care what time it is. The only thing I care about is that open housing bill." And Tom, who was my seatmate, Tom Garrett, he would say, "Well, what do you think about time?" I said, "Tom, I don't care what time it is. I just want that bill out of your committee."
I love it.
When he found out that there were 19 senators committed to vote against daylight saving time because he was proponent, the very next morning when I arrived at the Capitol, he was at the door. He says, "I got your bill out," with the expression that it should pass. I said, "Tom, that's just great." I said, "We'll go to the Senate clerk's office and check it." And so we went there, and it was okay. I said, "Well, that's fine, thank you. Now, are you going to vote with me?" I said, "Not yet." "What's the matter?" I said, "You take this roll call sheet, and everybody you got committed to vote for your bill, you get them committed to mine, open housing bill." He looked at me, he was astonished. And he snatched it out of my hand and took off. About 3 hours later, he came back and said, "Here."
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, okay, that's fine." So when his bill came up the next day or so, daylight savings time. Well, I had said I didn't care about time to everybody in the Senate. So they were rushing to me saying, "You ought to change your vote. If you don't change your vote, Wendell Ford, who was president of the Senate and lieutenant governor, he will have to break the tie." And I said, and everybody be mad at him. I said, "It better they be mad at him than at me." I said, "My commitment stands." Because I found out something, that once you made a commitment, most of the legislators kept a commitment that they made.
Okay. Good to know.
So it tied, and Wendell voted for it. So that was my greatest triumph.
That's great.
Politically.
Didn't
and
care
of
what
course,
time it was.
I didn't care what time it was. And the bill, of course, went on to the House and
Right.
it passed. And then Governor Nunn signed it. He did not sign it into law. It became law without his signature. But I was happy that it became law.